Hello, Popcorn Junkies. I've actively elected to do this trailer reaction without Nadia because on the last teaser reaction, I think her response to just the very concept of Michael Jackson and the biopic caused an enormous amount of distress and upset for Michael Jackson fans. And it's not because I necessarily disagree with what she says, but I can feel in the comments beneath that teaser reaction that any criticism of Michael Jackson for those who are huge advocates and supporters of him can be painful. Now, it's important to stress, parking all of the kind of controversies to the side, that essentially he wasn't found guilty. That's right, isn't it? There are all sorts of kind of stories around the idea that perhaps the rubbishing of his reputation could have been in no small way attached to his advocacy for Palestine. I believe he had a song on one of his albums that was about the plight of Palestinian children. My take on it, rather than getting into the whether I believed or didn't believe the testimonies of the victims that accused Michael Jackson of doing what he did, is more that whatever happened to Michael Jackson in his childhood, it was so odd and so rarefied and so strange and so twisted that, yeah, for sure, his attitude to what being an adult was and to what being a child was and all the bits in between were clearly very confused, traumatized, and easy to be misinterpreted. And that's not to say that I'm giving him a pass and suggesting that actually he didn't necessarily do what he did. As I've said many times regarding things like the Epstein files, when a cover-up is successful, the cover-up happens. So, I think the point of the matter here is we're never really going to know. People are going to draw their own conclusions from the testimonies of those who accuse Michael Jackson. Then there are those who just note that he was strange. I mean, a lot that went on in his life was strange, right down to the plastic surgery, the changes in his skin colour, his relationships. I don't know if you remember him holding a baby over a balcony, and didn't he wear sort of bags on his head and stuff like that? Anyway, or was that his children? I can't remember. Anyway, one thing you can say, though, is virtually all of his music is sensational. I mean, there's still musicals in every major city in the West telling the story of Michael Jackson. Hasn't dented his popularity. And so this is the new film, the biopic, the much championed, much heralded biopic of his life. And we reacted to the teaser. I understand his cousin, is it his cousin or his nephew? A relative of his, Jaafar Jackson, is actually playing Michael Jackson. I think Colman Domingo's in there. Now, when we watched the teaser, Miles Teller's in there as well, I think playing his agent, is that right? Entertainment lawyer or manager. There was something about it that felt really reminiscent of Bohemian Rhapsody. And if I'm really honest, I've said it, many people who know the film side of the channel, I'm not a fan of the biopic, the musical biopic. But there are a few notable exceptions to that. Rocket Man, the Elton John one, I really liked. Directed by Dexter Fletcher. And the other one I really quite liked was Better Man, the one of Robbie Williams' life, told through the lens of him being a monkey. Let's not forget Michael Jackson had a pet monkey, didn't he? So this film follows Jackson's life beyond the music, and I just wonder, and I always worry, that when you have access to the music library of such a talent, there are going to be some strong binding conditions placed on access to the music library, i.e. you can talk about this, you can't talk about this, you mustn't mention this, or if you mention this, you have to mention it in this way. Is that a problem? Does it matter? It clearly doesn't matter for people who go and see his musical, Michael Jackson, the musical in town, is it just Jackson? That's a huge success. So without further ado, I think we should check this out. This is the longer trailer. I hope it isn't just, as many musical biopics are, a stringing together of the origin story of countless different classic tunes. And also you've got the other problem with someone like Michael Jackson, where so much of what made Jackson was his looks. I think in any biopic, think of Bohemian Rhapsody, think of Rocket Man, they kind of dodged that bullet, didn't they, with Better Man, because they turned him into a chimp. Unfortunately, more than any other genre of film or biopic, when it's a singer, when it's a musical biopic, your lead actor really needs to look like them. So I think they've kind of hedged their bets by casting someone who's related to Jackson, has Jackson's DNA in him. But I do remember from the teaser feeling it didn't quite look right. So let's check it out.
You're confident. You're strong. You're beautiful. You're the greatest of all time.
Let me tell you something. In this life, Y'all either a winner or you're a loser. Y'all want to work in a steel mill like me for the rest of your days?
No, sir.
Yeah, because I sure as hell don't. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
I need to hear you a little louder. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
Ready whenever you are, Michael.
Do you know what I'm after?
You want to be the biggest star in the world?
We need to capitalize on Michael's success. Because the Jackson family is the brand. That's our Coca-Cola. And we need to start selling. So I'm planning an international tour. This is just the beginning.
I need to think.
I told you what to think.
I love my family. I just want to do my own thing. Just have all these ideas in my head. Just gotta get them out.
Then do it, Michael. Not a little boy anymore.
People always told me, be careful what you do.
Michael, I knew you were different the moment you were born. You have a very special life.
And mother always told me, be careful who you love.
I believe music can change the world. Spread love, joy, and peace. That is what I want the world to feel. Magic.
Okay, no one prepared me for the idea that they were going to cast Lionel Richie as Michael Jackson's father. That was a shocker. That was the big shocker in that one was, my God, Colman Domingo, so much facial kind of prosthetics on there. He was a cross between Lionel Richie and Tim Curry as the devil in the Ridley Scott fantasy film Legend. I couldn't get past it. And in fact, there's something about the makeup and the veneer and the sheen. Even Miles Teller looked like he'd had all facial cavities, details, cracks, junctions between eyebrow and nose cemented in, polyfilled in. So, and I don't know if that was about going for era or date with the hair. So consequently, the whole thing had a feel of, I hate to say it, I hate to use it, AI, but also over prostheticized. It's like they strove or strived or have striven to make him and everyone look so like the real characters that none of them have ended up looking like the real. I mean, it's not to say that we've possibly all forgotten what the much younger Michael Jackson looked like when he did Billie Jean and what have you, but I don't remember him ever looking like he looks at any point in this film, apart from when he was a kid. I mean, I am fascinated by the whole stuff around when it was the Jackson 5 and they were kids and, you know, but it's kind of received wisdom that his dad was a monster. Are they going to show the dad as a monster or just as a kind of misunderstood patriarch? I do worry this is all about kind of, you know, photoshopping the bad bits, taking the edge off. Do you remember with the Amy Winehouse where the dad came out being a soppy old git rather than the controlling git that he kind of is? It felt very Bohemian Rhapsody. And then in many of the kind of bigger scenes, the studio, stadium scenes, the street scenes, it all looked AI. It all looked bad AI. And you've got a monkey in there. I mean, I don't know if that's Robbie Williams as a chimp running around Michael Jackson's lounge. But it all felt very AI, very CGI, very artificial. Not at all. Not that you want gritty, but you want something. I was waiting for it to take a turn under, to dig under the veneer. And I didn't feel I got that. So it all looks weird. It all looks surface. It all looks shiny. It all looks obvious. It sounds great, which is music does. And I'm dreading it.